Imagine a world where loyalty and brutality walk hand in hand, where men covered in intricate tattoos exchange silent vows of brotherhood, and where entire neighborhoods operate under unspoken codes of fear. This is the Yakuza, Japan's most notorious organized crime syndicate, a world hidden behind traditional ceremonies and razor-sharp business acumen. Stay with me until the very end, because we'll uncover a shocking revelation about how deep their influence truly runs, even in places you'd never suspect. Before we begin, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Next week, we're taking you even further into the underworld with an expose on Europe's largest black markets, and you won't want to miss it. Now, let's step into the shadows and see how the Yakuza rose to power, how they operate, and why their story can make anyone's blood run cold. The origins of the Yakuza stretch back centuries, making them one of the oldest criminal networks in the world. Historically, Japan's feudal era left many people on the outskirts of society: ronin, masterless samurai, peddlers, gamblers, and outcasts. Over time, these marginalized groups formed quasi-brotherhoods, forging tight-knit alliances and adopting their own codes of honor to survive. The term Yakuza is said to come from a losing hand in a traditional Japanese card game. 8, YA, 9, KU, and 3, ZA, total 20, which is considered worthless. Yet ironically, this worthless label evolved into a name that would strike fear and respect across Japan. By the 17th and 18th centuries, proto-Yakuza organizations provided black market goods and protection services in bustling cities like Edo, modern-day Tokyo, and Osaka. They filled gaps left by a rigid class system. If you had no samurai protecting you, a local gambling gang might step in for a price. As Japan modernized in the late 19th century, these groups adapted, branching out from street gambling into loan sharking, smuggling, and low-level political intimidation. The line between outcasts and protectors blurred, giving birth to the Yakuza as we know them, part Robin Hood to some communities, ruthless thugs to others. Modern watchers note that these roots shaped an organization that values strict hierarchy and unwavering loyalty. Members look to their oyabun, boss, almost like a feudal lord, willing to commit unspeakable acts for the good of the group. This loyalty remains central to the Yakuza's survival. Where Western mafias often revolve around profit and family, the Yakuza's early role as social outcasts forged a quasi-samurai identity. An identity that persists even as their crimes and revenues have exploded in scale. One of the Yakuza's defining features is its complex organizational hierarchy. At the top sits the Kumicho, or the supreme boss, just like the Godfather in Western crime families. Below him, lieutenants known as Wakagashira manage entire factions, each presiding over smaller crews. This layered chain of command ensures that orders flow from top to bottom with military precision. New recruits often start as kobun, literally foster children in the Yakuza worldview, sworn to obey their oyabun, foster parent, with total devotion. This bond is formalized through sake-sharing ceremonies, where exchanging cups of rice wine cements a near-sacred contract. Tattoos also mark a deep commitment to this life. Known as irizumi, these tattoos typically cover the back, torso, and arms in dense, colorful designs that include dragons, koi fish, and mythic figures. They're not just body art, they represent suffering and loyalty. Historically done by hand using wooden tools and needles, Yakuza tattoos can take hundreds of painful hours to complete. Removing your shirt to display a full-body irizumi at a bathhouse or private gathering is an intimidating display of status, one that silently announces membership in an elite underworld tribe. Rituals of punishment are equally symbolic. The most infamous is yubitsume, the act of cutting off part of one's own finger to atone for a mistake or show remorse. In Yakuza tradition, the left pinky finger is sliced at the top joint and presented to the oyabun. The idea is that losing a finger weakens your grip on a sword, thereby making you more dependent on the group. Modern times have seen less of this practice, but it remains a frightening testament to the Yakuza's emphasis on sacrifice and obedience. While images of gangsters exchanging briefcases of cash might be accurate for some Yakuza deals, their real power often lies in systematic, wide-scale criminal enterprises. Traditionally, gambling is a cornerstone of Yakuza revenue. In local neighborhoods, they run illegal casinos, some discreetly hidden within legitimate businesses, offering everything from mahjong parlors to underground poker rooms. The locals know the best place to gamble if they want a piece of the action is a Yakuza-controlled den, though they also know they risk heavy debts and potential violence. Loan sharking is another big moneymaker. The Yakuza step in where traditional lenders refuse, charging exorbitant interest rates that can quickly spiral out of control. One missed payment could mean a sudden visit from enforcers, leading to seized property or threats against family members. This cycle of debt slavery keeps entire communities under their thumb, fueling fear and ensuring compliance. For countless victims, accepting a Yakuza loan is like signing a pact with the devil, the first step toward a lifetime of financial ruin. In recent decades, Yakuza groups have ventured beyond classic rackets and into multinational investments. They've allegedly sunk funds into real estate ventures in Southeast Asia, hedge funds in Europe, and even legitimate-looking corporations in the United States. Some have ties to Japan's ultra-modern entertainment industry, film production, music promotions, and even new frontiers like e-sports. Experts believe that by diversifying into semi-legitimate businesses, the Yakuza can launder dirty money while building global partnerships that extend their reach. The result is a shadowy financial empire that merges traditional street-level shakedowns with polished boardroom deals. Crime meets corporate in the most unsettling fashion. One very chilling reality is that the Yakuza are not merely street thugs or back-alley gamblers, they have long-standing links to politics and mainstream society. During Japan's post-World War II reconstruction, some Yakuza bosses cozied up to right-wing politicians, offering manpower to break up protests or disrupt labor strikes. These alliances, while being unofficial, afforded the underworld extraordinary leverage in local and national decision-making. In some of the instances, Yakuza groups have even quietly funded political campaigns in exchange for leniency in law enforcement crackdowns, allowing them to operate with impunity for decades. Then there's the onsen, hot spring culture, a seemingly benign part of Japanese tradition that intersects with Yakuza rituals. In numerous hot springs and bathhouses across the country, it used to be commonplace to see heavily tattooed men proudly displaying their irizumi. Over time, many onsens began banning tattoos altogether, officially to maintain a family-friendly atmosphere, but in reality to deter Yakuza from turning these establishments into their personal, social clubs. Even so, some private or high-end onsen still discreetly cater to wealthy gang members, providing them a veneer of respectability and a space to hold confidential meetings without attracting too much attention. While many Japanese citizens claim to have never directly encountered the Yakuza, the group's infiltration into normal life is pervasive. They own real estate companies, fund local festivals, and sometimes even sponsor community events under charitable fronts. This paradox of public good versus underworld terror epitomizes the Yakuza's ability to embed themselves so deeply that extracting them from Japan's economic and social fabric becomes nearly impossible. And each year, countless people, unsuspecting tourists, business owners, and even politicians, get caught in the web of these hidden puppet masters. In recent decades, the Japanese government has made a pointed effort to curtail Yakuza power. Anti-Boryokuden laws, Boryokuden being the formal term for violent groups, were enacted to make it harder for Yakuza to conduct business openly. Police launched raids on known offices. Yes, the Yakuza actually maintain registered offices under official group names and froze bank accounts linked to criminal activity. Local ordinances banned businesses from collaborating with known gang members, pushing the Yakuza further underground. These crackdowns, paired with global scrutiny, have undeniably weakened the syndicates. Membership has dropped from an estimated 180,000 members in the early 1960s to less than 30,000 today. However, experts caution this doesn't signal the Yakuza's demise, but rather their transformation. Facing legal pressures, many groups have shifted from overt violence to white-collar crime, money laundering, cyber fraud, and sophisticated corporate infiltration. They've also expanded their networks globally, forging alliances with other criminal enterprises such as Chinese triads, Russian Mafia, and even Western biker gangs when interests align. Some Yakuza are even trying a new strategy like public relations. A few organizations have toned down visible violence, publishing codes of conduct emphasizing local cooperation and philanthropic gestures after natural disasters. While many see this as a cynical ploy to fend off legal heat, it highlights a crucial point. The Yakuza are incredibly adaptive. Threatened by legal reforms, they simply evolve, ensuring their underworld empire remains formidable, albeit more concealed than ever before. From their centuries-old traditions to their modern-day corporations, the Yakuza embody a haunting duality. They pledge loyalty, respect tradition, and occasionally support local communities, yet they also deal in violence, exploitation, and ruthless profit-making. For outsiders, the Yakuza's existence can feel surreal, like stepping into a world where old samurai codes blend with brutal gangster tactics. For the Japanese themselves, the Yakuza remain a powerful force, shaping everything from real estate markets to local political scenes in ways that are often invisible to the naked eye. But perhaps the scariest truth is that no crackdown has truly severed their grip. They've simply adapted, digging deeper into loan-sharking, gambling and global investments, forging alliances and using front businesses to launder money. Whenever a new economic opportunity arises, be it cryptocurrencies, online gaming or overseas property development, the Yakuza stand ready to exploit it. And the more seamlessly they integrate into legal frameworks, the harder it becomes to root them out. If you found this deep dive into Japan's shadowy Yakuza empire as unsettling as it is fascinating, you won't want to miss next week's foray into Europe's largest black markets. We'll reveal how entire sectors of the continent's economy run on hidden deals, counterfeit goods, and under-the-table cash. Smash that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay ahead in our ongoing exploration of global criminal underworlds. Because the further we dig, the more we realize. The line between legitimate enterprise and organized crime is often thinner than we dare to admit. To round it up, we must understand that the Yakuza's true power lies not in their violence, but in their invisibility, a silent force woven into the very fabric of society. As Mats Fredriksson once said, "Power isn't measured by how many fear you, but by how deeply you can embed yourself where no one dares to look." Thank you for watching.